Hello, and welcome back to the Everyday English Podcast, the place where we help you navigate real life using clear, natural English. I'm Sarah, and I am so happy you are joining us for another deep dive episode. Today, we have a very practical and slightly scary topic to discuss. We are talking about what happens when your travel plans go wrong.
Hi everyone, I am Mark. And yes, Sarah is right. In our last few episodes, we talked about all the fun parts of travel. We talked about packing your suitcase, buying snacks, and getting ready for a road trip. But anyone who drives a car knows that sometimes cars break. And if your car breaks down in your home country, it is stressful. But if your car breaks down in a foreign country where you have to speak English, it can feel like a disaster.
Exactly. Imagine you are driving on a beautiful highway in California or maybe the countryside in the UK. The sun is shining, the music is playing, and suddenly you hear a loud noise. Or smoke starts coming out of the engine. Panic sets in. You need to call for help and you need to explain what is wrong to a mechanic. If you do not have the right vocabulary, you might end up paying too much money or, even worse, being stuck on the side of the road for hours.
That is the nightmare scenario. So today, we are going to teach you survival English for car problems. We are going to cover the warning signs, the sounds cars make, how to call a tow truck, and how to talk to a mechanic without getting ripped off. By the end of this hour, you will feel confident enough to handle a breakdown like a pro.
Let's start with the first thing you notice when something goes wrong, the dashboard. You are driving along and suddenly a light pops up on your dashboard. Now, Mark, I am not a mechanic, but I know that different lights mean different levels of danger. In English, we often call the dashboard the dash for short, and the lights are called warning lights or indicators.
Right, and the most common one, the one everyone dreads, is the check engine light. It usually looks like a little outline of an engine. When this comes on, many learners might say, "My car has a problem," but that is too vague. You want to be able to tell someone, "My check engine light came on."
Is the check engine light an immediate emergency? Usually, if it is just steady and yellow, it means you need to check it soon, but you do not need to stop immediately. However, there are other lights that mean stop right now. Mark, what is the one for oil?
That is the oil pressure light. It looks like a little oil can, almost like a tea kettle or a genie lamp. If you see this, you need to learn the phrase pull over. To pull over means to move your car to the side of the road and stop. If you ignore the oil light, you can destroy your engine in minutes. So the sentence you need here is, "The oil light is flashing, I need to pull over immediately."
That phrase, pull over, is so important. We use it for emergencies, but also if the police are behind you with their lights on. You pull over to the shoulder. The shoulder is that strip of concrete or dirt on the side of the highway where cars can park in an emergency. It is not a lane for driving, it is just for safety. So you pull over to the shoulder.
Another critical light is the temperature gauge, or the temperature light. It usually looks like a thermometer floating in water. If this goes into the red zone, we say the car is overheating. That is a great vocabulary word, overheating. It means the engine is getting too hot. You might see steam coming out from under the hood.
Oh, good word. The hood. In American English, the hood is the metal cover over the engine at the front of the car. In British English, they call it the bonnet. But since we focus mostly on international English, which often leans American for travel, we will say hood. So if your car is overheating, you might see smoke or steam rising from the hood.
Exactly. So you have the check engine light, the oil light, and the temperature gauge. But sometimes there are no lights. Sometimes there are just terrible noises. And describing sounds in a second language is incredibly difficult. You can't just say to the mechanic, "It's making a bad sound." You need to be specific because the sound tells the mechanic what is broken.
I love this part because English has so many fun words for sounds. Let's go through the big three: squealing, grinding, and hissing. Mark, walk us through squealing.
A squeal is a high-pitched, long sound. It sounds like ee. If you hear this when you press the brakes, it usually means your brake pads are worn out. So you would tell the mechanic, "My brakes are squealing every time I stop." However, if you hear a squealing sound when you start the car or when you accelerate, it might be a loose belt in the engine.
Okay, so squealing is high-pitched. What about grinding? That sounds scary.
Grinding is a rough metal-on-metal sound. Think of two stones rubbing together. Grr, grr, grr. If you hear grinding when you brake, that is dangerous. It means your brake pads are completely gone and metal is rubbing on metal. You need to say, "My brakes are grinding." You might also hear grinding when you try to change gears if you are driving a manual transmission car.
And the last one is hissing, like a snake. Sss.
Yes, hissing usually involves gas or liquid escaping under pressure. If you hear hissing from the engine, it is likely a coolant leak or the radiator. Or if you hear a loud hiss from one of your wheels, you might have a puncture in your tire and the air is escaping. So you would say, "I hear a loud hissing sound coming from the front of the car."
This is such a great checklist. If you are listening to this podcast, maybe pause for a second and think, could you describe these sounds in your own language? Now try to remember the English words. Squealing for brakes or belts, grinding for metal on metal, and hissing for leaks. These 3 words will make your mechanic respect you much more because you sound like you know what you're talking about.
Being specific definitely helps you get better service. Now, Sarah, let's imagine the worst has happened. You pulled over to the shoulder because your car was overheating or making a grinding noise. Now you are sitting on the side of the road. What is the first thing you should do for safety?
You need to turn on your hazard lights. These are the blinking orange lights on both the front and back of your car. In some countries, they are called emergency flashers or just hazards. You usually find the button with a red triangle symbol on the dashboard. You hit that button so other drivers can see you. Then you need to call for help.
Right. In the US, there is a very famous service called AAA, or AAA, but most people just call their insurance company or a rental car helpline. This conversation can be stressful because the connection might be bad and you're nervous. The first thing the operator will ask is, "Are you in a safe location?"
That is a tricky question. If you are on a narrow shoulder of a busy highway, you are not safe. You should say, "No, I am on the side of a busy highway. Please hurry." If you are in a parking lot or a gas station, you can say, "Yes, I am in a safe spot."
Then comes the hardest question, where are you? If you are in a city, you can give a street address or an intersection. An intersection is where 2 streets cross each other. For example, I am at the intersection of Main Street and First Avenue. But what if you are in the middle of nowhere?
This happens all the time on road trips. You are on a long highway with nothing around. You need to look for signs. In English, we use the term mile marker. These are small signs on the side of the highway with a number on them. They appear every mile. So you can tell the operator, "I am on Highway 101 near mile marker 45.
And do not forget the direction. Highway 101 goes north and south. If you do not say which side you are on, the tow truck might drive past you on the other side of the divider. So you need to say, "I am in the northbound lanes," or "I am heading south."
Let's practice a little role play here, Mark. I will be the stranded driver, and you be the emergency operator. I want to show our listeners how to put all these pieces together.
Okay, ring ring. Emergency roadside assistance. What is your emergency?
Hi, my car has broken down and I need a tow truck.
Okay, ma'am. Are you in a safe location?
Not really. I am on the shoulder of the highway and cars are driving by very fast. I have my hazard lights on.
We will get someone to you quickly. Can you tell me your vehicle details and where you are?
Yes, I am driving a blue Ford Focus. I am on Interstate 5 heading north. I just passed mile marker 120.
Interstate 5 North, mile marker 120. And what seems to be the problem with the vehicle?
The engine overheated and there was smoke coming from the hood. Now it won't start.
Okay, help is on the way.
End scene. That was perfect. Did you notice how I combined all the vocabulary? I said I was on the shoulder, I had my hazard lights on, I gave the direction heading north, and the mile marker. If you can do that, the tow truck will find you immediately.
One thing you said there is really common. It won't start. This is the generic phrase for when you turn the key or push the button and nothing happens. But sometimes we need to be more specific. There is a phrase, it won't turn over.
Oh, that is a technical one. What does turn over mean?
Turning over is the sound the engine makes when it is trying to start. That chug, chug, chug sound. If you turn the key and hear silence, or just a click, you say, the engine won't turn over. This usually means a dead battery. But if you turn the key and hear chug, 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 but the engine doesn't catch and run, you say, it is turning over, but it won't start. That might be a fuel problem.
That is a subtle difference, but it saves the mechanic time. Speaking of batteries, a dead battery is the most common problem travelers have. Maybe you left your lights on while you were sightseeing. If your battery is dead, you might not need a tow truck. You might just need a jump start.
Yes, a jump start. This is when another car connects their battery to yours with cables to give you enough power to start. The cables are called jumper cables. So, if you are in a parking lot and your car is dead, you can ask a stranger, "Excuse me, my battery is dead. Do you have jumper cables? Could you give me a jump start?" Most people are very happy to help.
I have had to ask for that many times. It is a great way to meet locals, actually. Now, let's move on to another very common problem, tires. We briefly mentioned a flat tire earlier. A flat tire is when the air has leaked out, but sometimes the tire completely explodes while you are driving. We call that a blowout.
A blowout is scary because you can lose control of the car. If you have a flat tire or a blowout, you need to change it. Most cars come with a spare tire in the trunk. The trunk is the storage space in the back of the car. In British English, it is the boot. But here is a warning. Modern spare tires are often smaller than normal tires. We call them donuts.
A donut, like the food?
Yes, because they look small and silly compared to the real wheel. A donut is a temporary tire. You cannot drive fast on it, usually only up to 50 miles per hour, and you should only drive it to the nearest mechanic. You cannot finish your road trip on a donut. So if you change your tire, go straight to a repair shop.
Before we get to the mechanic shop section, I want to remind everyone that learning these phrases is great, but you need to hear them often to remember them. That is why we create these long episodes. If you are finding this helpful, please make sure you are subscribed to the Everyday English podcast channel. When you subscribe, you get these practical lessons delivered to you, and it helps us keep making free content.
Absolutely. Okay, let's imagine the tow truck has taken you to the garage or the repair shop. Now you are standing at the front desk talking to the mechanic. This is where many people get nervous about money. They are afraid the mechanic will do expensive work that is not necessary.
The key here is to ask for an estimate. An estimate is a rough calculation of how much the repair will cost. You should ask, "Can you give me an estimate before you do any work?" This is very important. You do not want them to fix everything and then hand you a bill for thousands of dollars.
Right, and you might hear the mechanic talk about parts and labor. These are the two costs on your bill. Parts refers to the physical things they buy to put in your car, like a new battery or a new pump. Labor is the cost of the mechanic's time. Sometimes the part is cheap, like $10, but the labor is expensive because it takes 5 hours to install.
So if the estimate is very high, you can ask, how much of that is parts and how much is labor? It helps you understand the bill. Also, if you are on a road trip, time is important. You need to ask, when will it be ready? Or what is the turnaround time?
Turnaround time is a great business phrase. It just means how long until the job is finished. If they say it will take a few days, you might have a problem. You might need to rent another car or find a hotel.
Let's talk about a scenario where the mechanic tells you something is wrong, but you are not sure if you need to fix it right now. Maybe you are low on money or you just want to get home. You can ask, is this urgent or is it safe to drive without fixing this immediately?
That is a very smart question. For example, maybe your air conditioning is broken. The mechanic says it will cost $500 to fix the AC. You can ask, is it critical for the engine? He will say, no, you will just be hot. Then you can say, okay, I will fix it later. But if he says, your brakes are thin, and you ask, is it safe? He will say, no. Then you must fix it.
I want to go back to the tire situation for a second. If you have a flat tire, sometimes they can patch it. To patch a tire means to repair the small hole so you don't need to buy a new one. This is much cheaper. So always ask, is the tire ruined or can you patch it?
Good tip. A patch might cost $20, while a new tire could be $150. Okay, Sarah, we have covered a lot of vocabulary. We have the warning lights, the sounds, the roadside call, and the negotiation with the mechanic. I think it is time to put our listeners to the test with a shadowing exercise.
I love shadowing. For those of you who are new, shadowing is where we say a phrase and then we pause to let you repeat it exactly as we said it. Try to copy our intonation, our speed, and our emotion. I am going to set up a situation and Mark will give you the phrase to say.
Ready? Situation 1. You are driving and you hear a loud noise when you step on the brake pedal. You are at the mechanic now. How do you describe the sound? Repeat after me. I hear a loud grinding noise when I brake. I hear a loud grinding noise when I brake. Excellent. Situation 2. You are calling the emergency hotline. You are on the highway, but you don't know the address. You see a small sign with the number 50. Repeat after me. I am on the highway near mile marker 50. I am on the highway near mile marker 50. Situation 3. The mechanic tells you the repair will cost $800. You want to know the breakdown of the cost. Repeat after me. Can you explain how much is parts and how much is labor? Can you explain how much is parts and how much is labor? Situation 4. Your battery is dead in a parking lot. You see someone walking to their car. You want to ask for help. Repeat after me. Excuse me, do you have jumper cables? My battery is dead. Excuse me, do you have jumper cables? My battery is dead. Great job. Speaking these phrases out loud builds your muscle memory. In a stressful situation, your brain will remember the rhythm of the sentence even if you are panicked.
I want to add one more small tip about insurance. If you are renting a car, always keep the rental agreement in the glove compartment. The glove compartment is that little box in the dashboard in front of the passenger seat. When you call for help, they will ask for your rental agreement number. Have that ready before you dial the phone.
And if you own the car, keep your registration and insurance card in the glove compartment too. If the police pull you over, or if you have an accident, those are the two documents you must show: registration and insurance.
We should probably mention what to do if you are in an accident. We hope this never happens, but if you hit another car or another car hits you, the most important phrase is, "Are you okay?" Check for injuries first. Then, do not admit fault. Do not say, "It was my mistake," right away. Just exchange information.
Exchange information means you give them your name and insurance details, and they give you theirs. You can say, "Let's exchange insurance information." Take photos of the damage with your phone. Photos are the best evidence.
This has been a very heavy episode. We went from broken engines to flat tires to accidents. But honestly, Mark, feeling prepared is the best way to reduce anxiety. If you know you have the words to handle a crisis, you can relax and enjoy the road trip.
That is the truth. The goal of Everyday English Podcast is not just to teach you grammar rules, but to give you the tools to live your life in English. Travel is beautiful, but it is also unpredictable. Now you have a survival kit of vocabulary stored in your brain. Before we finish, I have a little challenge for you. Next time you are in your car, or even if you are just walking down the street and see a car, try to name the parts we discussed today. Point to the hood, the trunk, the tires, the dashboard. Ask yourself, what would I say if this part broke?
And if you enjoyed this episode, please let us know in the comments. Have you ever had a car breakdown in an English-speaking country? What happened? Did you know what to say? We love reading your stories. It helps us feel connected to you.
And if you have a friend who is planning a trip soon, share this video with them. You might save them from a very stressful situation. Helping your friends learn English is a great gift.
We have many more episodes coming up about navigating airports, ordering food in restaurants, and even handling medical emergencies. So make sure you hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next lesson.
Thank you so much for listening and studying with us today. Remember, every problem has a solution, and every solution starts with the right words. Drive safe, everyone.
See you next time. Bye.